Hello there, welcome to my channel. I'm Angela from arteri.com. I thought today we'd make this absolutely beautifully blended background. I just absolutely love the colours in this. So I'm going to briefly go through the supplies that I'm going to be using. You might obviously have something different, and you can use any colours you like. You can have it as stylised as you like or as realistic as you like, but I just think it's beautiful the way the yellow goes into ultimately the black at the top. I just think it's gorgeous. I'm going to be using some sentiments from Waffle Flower. Well, a sentiment from Waffle Flower. I'll put that to one side, don't need that yet. I'm going to use these stamps. I think they're just generic ones from Temu or somewhere like that. Any silhouette stamps will do. I'm going to be using these blending domes, and I'm going to use embossing ink because I'm going to actually emboss the sentiment. And this is the powder that I use to put on the card before I emboss. And I've got black Memento ink there, but the main colours I'm going to be using are you can use any dye inks. You could use distress oxides, just use whatever inks you have, but I'm going to use dye inks for this because they worked so well the last time. So that's lemon lolly, crushed curry, pumpkin pie and gorgeous grape. Like I say, you just use whatever inks you have in whatever colours that you like. I've got an acrylic paint pen, that's for the white splatters that I'll be doing, and I'm going to be adding the colour onto a piece of white card that is 5 inches by 3 3/4. This is for the sentiment, just a scrap piece of black. This is going to be one of the matte layers. I'm not going to cut this up and I'll show you why later on. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my sticky mat to my glass mat, just so I can stick the card on it and I don't have to worry about it moving around while I'm adding the colour. If you have a sticky mat and you find it's not very sticky, you can just spritz it with water and clean it with a cloth. It should get the stickiness back for you again. Right, that seems nice and sticky. So I'm just going to take out all of the dome foam pads that I use, the blending pads. The black one's already on there. There's a purple, there's yellow, there's pink. I think they're the only 3 that I used. I can always come back for more if I need them. So I'm going to take that one off, put on the yellow, and because there's already some dark yellow on there, I'm just going to get off as much as I can. So I'm going to start with this nice light yellow. I'm just going to start from the bottom and just blend each colour up till I reach the top. Now onto the crushed curry. Because it's in the same colour family, I'm just going to use the same brush. Just use the lightest colour first if you decide to do that. Now I'm going to use pumpkin pie. I'll change the dome for this one. To get it nice and blended, you can just keep swapping your brushes and just keep adding a bit more of your colour on. For the purple, I have to go a little bit more cautiously with this because it is very dark. I'm going to start right from the very top and just come in and blend it more as I go down the paper. Just keep working it and working it and working it until you've got the blend that you like. It can take a while, but it is so worth it. Now what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of black and just go around the corners and the edges, concentrating mostly in the top and the corner. It may not look like it now, but this will dry to a really, really nice effect. I've just done this quickly. Obviously you can take as much time as you like. This is just to show you how to lay the colour down. So as you can see on this one, it's blended the same, and the colour, which every time you do this it will look different, I promise you. You're never going to get the same effect twice, and I like that. I think that's lovely. Right, now I have to put this somewhere to dry, or you can dry it with your heat tool. Now if you want to, you could have put a mask on there for the moon. If you know, you could do, there's all sorts you can do with these really. I'm going to give this mat a clean now. These sticky mats are absolutely invaluable for stenciling, for blending, anything like that, just so the paper doesn't move. I'm just going to dry this off on number 1 on the heat tool. If yours doesn't have a dual setting, just hold it a bit further away as you dry it so it doesn't go off the paper too much. It shouldn't take long to dry off. I'm just going to let that cool down, and I'm going to put all of these brushes away. Right, if you have a stamping platform, I do suggest that you use it for this next part. Oh, one more supply that I forgot to get out. I'm going to use Versafine ink, a pigment ink to put on top of the dye ink so nothing gets smudged. So just lay it down. If you have magnets or a sticky mat, anything to hold your card in place. Right, that's not sticking down. I think this must need changing. I think I got powder on it before, anti-static powder on it on here, so it's lost some of its stickiness. But anyway, this has 2 sets of leaves. This one isn't solid like I thought it was going to be, so if I can just show you. So the background ones there were stamped with the first stamp here, but what I did was just used a light grey just to colour them in, and I don't think it looks too bad. But these ones here are solid, so I'm going to use these ones first. I'm going to put these a bit further up this time, and I'm going to use, as I said, I'm going to use the Versafine because the theory is it shouldn't smudge on when it's put on over the dye ink. That looks okay. I'll dry that off a bit. You have to be careful putting your heat tool on, because not only does it dry the pigment ink, but it also lifts up anything sticky as well. Right, I'm going to use the bottom one, and I'm going to put that a bit further down. You get an absolutely beautiful coverage with this, the Versafine Onyx Black. It's beautiful, I love it. Even your cheapest stamps always come out looking nice with that on. This needs to dry thoroughly before we go on to the next stage, so I'll just clear everything up here. Right, it's been miserable and rainy all day, and now the sun's decided to come out, so I've had to close the curtains because it was flooding in, and put the light on. But anyway, I'm going to put that to one side to finish drying. It's still quite damp with the pigment ink. And now I am going to do the sentiment. First thing you need to do is make sure there are no finger marks anywhere on the card that you're going to be using. I'm going to put that in my little stamp platform. Hang on, might help if I cut it down a little bit. And it also might help if I actually had the sentiment to go on. Like I said, these are from Waffle Flower, so I'm going to have a look, see which one I fancy. I think I like that one, Take Care Friend. It's one of my favourites. If you're using scraps, just make sure you have enough space around your sentiment to die cut it out. Right, as soon as the powder is melted, just move on to the next section, or else it could start bubbling and it wouldn't look very nice at all. Right, now to find the matching die. So what I like about these is that they are numbered. So the one I've used, if you can see, is number 6. And the dies should have the corresponding number on them so I can see what I'm doing. Because sometimes it's difficult to find the right die for the right sentiment. Well, they're not written on that side, they're written on the back. So there is still a bit of guesswork. That's number 6, there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Number 6 just written there. It's etched into it. So I'm just going to cut this out and then I'll be back. That's lovely. I really like sentiments with embossing powder on. I just think they look gorgeous. That appears to be dry now. Before I put the sentiment on, I nearly forgot, I do want to add some splatters to the top. I think I'll add some scrap there. Just so, I just want the splatters at the top, just like stars. And I'm going to use my acrylic pen for this. Now this worked the last time, I don't know if it's going to work this time because of course, like I've said, it's on camera. I'm just going to get it going. And then hopefully, that's it. Just tapping the end of it. And then you could just add as little or as much as you want. There, that looks lovely. Really nice. Just gives the impression of stars. It won't stay white because of the dark background, but it will still give a nice effect. Right, so what I've forgotten to do, I'm going to take just a darker grey. This is WG5, and I'm just going to colour in these trees. It won't make that much of a difference, but it does make a little bit. So these ones that are not completely solid, I'm just going to colour them in, just to give them a little bit of dimension. So yeah, that doesn't do much, but it does something, and I in no way meant this to be realistic in any way, shape or form. So I'm quite happy to have like these stylized trees and things like that. They even look quite translucent, but I don't care. I just think it looks really nice as it is. Right, so where did I put? So I put that there. I'm trying to think where to put this time. I don't like those birds, so I think I'll cover over those and just put it there. I'm going to put it on dimensionals. Okay, I thought it was too good to be true that I hadn't made a blunder yet. Well, I just have made one. So I want to put this on here, but I want to use my layer guides to do it, and I shouldn't have really put dimension on until I'd put it on the layer, but never mind, I shall give it a go. I'm just going to place that on there. If you've never seen these layer guides before, I'll leave a link to my video in the description. They're just absolutely amazing for getting straight border all the way around, but you shouldn't really have any dimension on while you're doing it because it can skew the cutting a little bit, but I'll just have to try my best. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Even with the dimension on, it has cut a nice even border all the way around. I love my layer guides. Right, so I'm actually not too keen on this one. I prefer this one because it's much brighter at the bottom. But obviously you can do it whichever way you like. But I do wish now that I'd made it exactly the same as this one and had the light a bit more to the top, if like to go further up. I'm not explaining myself very well, am I? But you know what I mean, I hope. Never mind, I shall continue. So I've cut a black card this time, and the card is quite thin. So what I'm going to do is put a little insert in here, something that for people to write on. So what I'm going to do, just to give it a little bit of interest, is just, I'm using this little corner die from Crafter's Companion Hearts. It's lovely. And the beauty about using this is that you get some little tiny hearts cut out. You can use them for confetti or just for little decorations. That's quite cute. Right, so I'm now going to stick that in there. Serves a twofold purpose. It gives people something to write on, and it makes the card a little bit thicker. Should have called my channel Blunder Woman, shouldn't I? Right, now that can go on there like that. So that is the basics of making the card. Like I say, I wish I'd done it a bit brighter like this one, but the point is you can use any colours that you like. I mean, all blues would look nice, light to dark blue. It's just sky's the limit, literally. Just do anything you like. So that just shows you how easy it is to make a card like this, especially if you already have sentiments made in your stash somewhere. I always make sure I have panels cut just ready to go when I want to make a card, and I am starting to use my scraps to make sentiments so I can just grab one when I need to, and I think heat embossed sentiments just look absolutely gorgeous. So I would love to know which is your favourite. This is definitely mine. I wished I'd put more colour on there like I said, but you never know, you might disagree with me. I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and have a great day. Bye bye now.